So we're going to be looking at Sylveon, Sylveon EX, normal Sylveon, and all of the evolutions. We are going to go with the best deck that you can possibly get with this Sylveon. Now, the big thing that you need to learn from having EXs is you can put EXs and the normal type next to each other in a deck. So if we was to go and do this, I want to show you what you can kind of get out of this deck. So obviously being this one, we're going to look at the Sylveon double EX, and we're going to look at the double of the normal Sylveon. Now the ability we've got is once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may draw 2 cards, which is always nice. You get an extra 2 cards on it. We also then have got the beautiful normal Sylveon with no ability, but the attack will give you this attack does 30 more damage for each evolution Pokemon on your bench. So if you've obviously got all 3, you're going to get a 90 bonus, meaning you're doing 130. Always incredible. We also have just the EX with a normal 70, and we are going to be linking this up with an Espeon, obviously all being Psychic, as there is no Fairy type in this yet. We have got the Energy Crush, which is going to be almost like a back burner Pokemon more so than anything. I don't necessarily class this deck as a high tier by any stretch, but it is interesting to say the least. And one thing I do want to know, leave it in the comments if you're knowing your TCG, what image is this Jolteon from? Just let me know. Put it in the comments. But we have got the Espeon, and it is a real card is what I'm suggesting. Espeon obviously is going to be a nice little extra bonus in this, so we are going to add them into the deck as well. So obviously with this there is 2 different versions, both of them give you the exact same, which then leaves us to an Eevee. So if we do and go back into this, we will obviously go and pick the Eevee that we want, and I want to go with the correct one. So the first one that you're going to have to go with is going to be that Eevee EX. So if I was to type in Eevee, we can obviously see it always does this. I don't know why it doesn't let me just type in Eevee. But if we go all the way down, you should be able to find the Eevee. Oh, in fact, if I typed in EVX in my work, we've got the EVX that we can throw into this, because naturally you can put the EX in. Now this is going to have Bite. It's not necessarily for the actual attack of it, mainly because I would choose a different Eevee just in general anyway, because obviously there is a few that you can go with. You kind of got to pick which one you personally like. Now for me, I love the continuous steps one. I'm not necessarily this big in building a deck for flips more than anything. It will kind of give you that little bit of luck. But as Eevee goes, if you're trying to put one in, I'd much rather have the continuous steps more so than anything. So if we go ahead and whack that Eevee in, I'm pretty sure last time I checked, it was just one up, which has got to be somewhere, and there it is. So if we add another 2 in there, that's pretty much going to be all of the Pokemon in the deck. Now obviously with this one, you're going to have the Eevee Bag that you'd throw in as well. This is going to be a nice little extra bonus that you could throw in. So obviously if we do look at the typing of what this does, during this turn, attacks used by Pokemon that evolve from Eevee do 10 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon and heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon that evolves from Eevee. So this is going to be pretty decent. You obviously have to choose 1 or 2. This is going to be fantastic if you are looking to heal the rest. You can obviously utilize the attack. If you've got no heal damage on you, then obviously you can utilize that. And then if you do have a lot of damage across all Eevees, if they're for instance attacking the bench as well, you can utilize it to do everything. I think that's a pretty good one to have. And then obviously you are going to go with the standard, you're going to go with the Pokeball, and you're going to go with the Professor's Research, as you do want to have both of them in anyway. That's pretty much almost a standard thing when it comes to a deck, having them 2 in, which it is just standard. Now you've obviously got the choice between different tools if you really want to. Obviously kind of Sylveon EX have got the HP. Other than that, the Sylveon and Espeon 90 and 100 each. It's not a great deal, so I possibly would look at either a Rocky Helmet or at least a Cape in this. Whether you want to choose 1 or 2 is down to you. Personally, I would possibly just go with 1 on this case, but you could go potentially with the 2. I would definitely be looking at Cyrus as an always. I always have at least 1 in the deck as a very just in case. Sometimes it does help you out loads. Sometimes it's kind of, it depends. Then obviously if you're looking through a few of the others, you obviously have got the Town Elder. I personally like this one just as, again, like a Cyrus. It's a one-off. If Eevee goes, I could bring it back to get all of my max evolutions on the bench as easy as possible. And if one does go, I can obviously replace that one with another Sylveon or another Espeon if I've got one going. So again, you could choose multiple of her or just go with one, which leaves us with one more spot that you could kind of go with. Now, obviously, when looking at kind of trainers, when looking at supports, it all depends on what you're kind of thinking with this. Now, you could go with more heal damage with the kind of spread of Pokemon. If you're not necessarily taking damage on Sylveon, if you're utilizing your kind of basic Sylveon and Espeon to start with, you can then go ahead and potentially go with one of them each and then go with a Sylveon EX as the final. So there is multiple ways that you can kind of do the deck depending on how it comes out, to be honest. That will be the massive thing. So you have got the choice between all of these trainers. If I was to potentially go with one, I mean, there is a lot of choice that I'd possibly go with. I think one that I do like the Grunt every now and then, but again, I wouldn't necessarily kind of pick them over anything. And to be honest, we didn't necessarily get a crazy amount of evolution ones. Obviously, if you go for something like a Penny, look at the random support cards that's not Penny from your opponent's deck and shuffle back into the deck. Use this effect of that as the card. Use the effect of that card as the effect of this card. It's a potential as almost like a ditto as such effect. So you could throw that one in. Again, there's going to be a few different options you can go with. Personally, for me, if I was looking at kind of like a heal option or going with a psychic, you could go with the slab that brings a psychic Pokemon out. Again, it is totally down to you with what you kind of choose with that. The slab's just going to bring a potential psychic Pokemon to the front instead of kind of not bringing that in on the next turn. So it's always nice to have that one as a potential as well. Now that is going to be my deck for today. It's an interesting one with some of these evolutions. Obviously there is quite a few that can kind of go by. We've still got to look at a Flareon, which is always going to be fantastic. Vaporeon and Glaceon will have some sort of magic together, as well as the lovely line of Poplio. Very, very nice deck in there. And then obviously Jolteon, to be honest, is kind of available, but I mean, he's not necessarily the biggest deck. And there's also one going in a bit of Dragonite. So let me know which ones you want to see next, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.